Hi everybody, Carissa here with Inky Fairy Designs for the Blitsy Creative Team today. We're going to play with some pan pastels in this Dilutions art journal to create this page here. I am using the Pan Pastel Flower Coloring Kit 2. Has 7 pan pastel colors here in a range of blues, purples, and greens. And it's a great kit to get you started. There's different colors and kits that are available aside from this one. It comes with a palette, you'll see here in a second, and an instruction sheet. Tells you some ideas and tips of applying the pan pastels to your page. It also has this toolkit with you and some different sponges to use to apply the color to your page or your canvas, whatever you might be working on. And they just kind of slip over the little palette knives, and you use the sponges to pick up the color and put it on your page. I also have a few other sets in my collection, and I'm pulling those out to use today as well. There's some that you can use just by holding in your hand. So here's the palette, and it comes with 3 empty slots so you can build and add to your pan pastel collection. I'll actually be using some additional colors today as well. So I pulled out Versamark ink pad. This is one of my favorite ways to use the pan pastels. You can use it with a stamp or a stencil, as you see I'm doing here with this Donna Downey Studio stencil. You know how much I love my Donna Downey Studio stencils, so I'm using a couple of them on this page today. So I'm just kind of sponging the ink directly from the ink pad onto my page through the stencil randomly on my page. This is going to create some texture for my background, and you'll see as I start to apply the color to my page how the pigment darkens when it goes over the ink that is on your page. So I'm taking the lighter green and I'm going to start sponging it onto my page, and I just pick it up through the pan, and you can kind of swipe it a couple times and pick up some of that pigment. And I'm using a soft circular motion to apply that to my page. Now I didn't add gesso or anything to my page to start off with. I am just working directly on the paper that is in the Dilutions journal itself. You could work on gesso surfaced areas as well. I'm going to take that light blue and I'm going to add a sky to my page here. I have a quote that I pulled out from one of my favorite songs by Mumford and Sons. And it says, "I will learn to love the skies that I'm under." It's from their song Hopeless Wanderer. And that was the inspiration for this particular page in my art journal. I like to build my pages off of quotes or thoughts that I have, and so the colors in this collection kind of lend itself to building a sky and some ground, so that really tied in with this song quote. So you can see I can pick up 2 of the colors. I've got this light purple and this light blue, and I can put both of the colors on my sponge and apply it that way and get some really beautiful blending and gradient color onto my page. And I really love how the Versamark or any type of watermark or embossing ink picks up the color and darkens it for you, so you get kind of that gradient and that texture and that depth all at once. So I'm pulling out another stencil. This is a Poppy Forest stencil by Donna Downey Studios as well. And I wasn't sure if the pan pastels would pick up on the ink pad as I sponged it on through the stencil. So I didn't want to contaminate my Versamark ink pad. So I have this Ranger ink pad. It's one of the small cubed ink pads, and it's their embossing ink, and it works the same exact way as the Versamark. It because that ink is pretty much sticky, it acts as a grabbing agent for the pan pastel as you rub over it. So I pulled out one of the tools, and I am just kind of looking for the stems from the stencil that I put the ink on, and I'm just kind of rubbing that pan pastel over and trying to pick up that color for the stems. So this is a really great way to add some, texture and color and give a painted look to your art journals by rubbing the color over the ink on your page. So I pulled out this red from that I already had. This is not in the collection that I showed you earlier, and I'm using it to paint on the poppies. And you can see how wherever that ink is through the stencil, it picks up that red. And even though I'm going around the area, because I'm being very, very light and soft in my touch, I'm not getting too much of that color anywhere else but on the flowers themselves. And also I'm taking this blue and adding some shading towards the bottom of my flowers, and it adds a really nice depth and dimension and really makes them pop up off the page by adding this layer of shading. And you can see how the colors really blend together even though they're in completely different color families. I can take that red and that blue and blend it together and get a really beautiful color. Now you can see that I missed some of the flowers, but it's not a big deal, and I actually really like what happens here. So I'm taking some of that blue and purple again, and I'm sponging on some more color, deepening up the color of the sky, and I'm just going right over the colors, that red that I put on as well. And you can see that I uncover some of the flowers that I missed, and I'm doing the same thing with the green here at the bottom for the ground. And again, you see some of the flowers that I missed. And I ended up just leaving them that way because I really liked the way that it kind of pushed them into the background and looked more of a shadow, or as if they were maybe further away in the scene. And so now I'm taking this darker green from that collection and I'm rubbing it along the edges to kind of frame my page. And I'm just taking this smaller tool and doing some light circular motions around the edges. And then I'm going to take that larger sponge again with the green on it. I'm not picking up any more color, but I'm going to just soften that edge and blend it into the page. I'm going to do the same thing with this blue. It's a different blue in the collection than I used on the flowers. It's more of a navy blue. And I'm going to flip that sponge over that I used for the red. So this is another way that you can get some more use out of your sponges. And I'm going to frame the sky part of my page and blend that in. Just the same circular motions, almost as if you can think of you're sponging some ink onto your page or a card. Same kind of technique using these pan pastels. So now, because I added more of the blue and the green to my page, my flowers got pushed back, and I'm going to add some more color to them. The good thing is that now I see where the flowers are, so I can really concentrate where I'm putting the color onto the petals rather than kind of just swiping it around on my page. So now I'm really being careful to only put the color onto the flowers themselves and trying not to get it around the flowers. But since I can see them now, it's easier to do that with these small tools, and I can really just sponge it onto each of the flower, and you can see how that blue and the red blend into each other, and you get a really pretty, almost purple color, because that's what red and blue do. They make purple, and it creates a really beautiful shade under the flowers and makes them pop up off the page. So really love how it looks very soft and painted on the page. And now I'm taking a brown color, I think it's burnt sienna, and I'm taking that triangular sponge. So this can give me a more precise application. I can really be careful about where I'm adding that. And I just wanted to add some shadows to the stems. And I'm also blending it just with the tip of my finger to soften it as I apply it to the page and kind of see how that's looking. I'm also going to take some of that brown because I have that pointed tip. I can really get precise application, and I'm putting just a touch of it on the bottom of each of the flowers and blending that into that blue and that red. And I think that really is, I don't know, when I did that, I just loved how the flowers had so much more dimension, and they just came to life more for me when I added that. So I wanted to show you this Crystal Coat fixative. It's a workable fixative. There's many different kinds. This one's by Helmar. If you're going to add other layers on top of the Pan Pastel, you definitely want to put a workable fixative on top before you start adding any more layers. And I'm taking this fine line applicator that I filled with some golden carbon black acrylic paint as well as some fluid airbrush medium, and just writing with that quote from the song, "I will learn to love the skies I'm under," and I'm taking a journaling pen and writing that it's Mumford and Sons, and it's from the Hopeless Wanderer song. So yeah, that pretty much finishes off my page. I love how the pan pastels are so soft and they blend so pretty. You can use it in your art journals, you can use it on canvases. I mean, there are artists out there that create some stunning pieces of artwork with the pan pastels. I am just playing with them and showing you some fun techniques that you can use with the Versamark inks and you know, stencils, and you can also do the same with stamps and create some really pretty painted look in your journals. You could also use this on cards. I've done it on cards as well. I'm just adding some white highlights to my I don't know, to my quote here, and I don't know, I don't really care for my handwriting, but you know, it is what it is. It's my handwriting, it's my art journal, and it's a piece of me. So I hope you enjoyed this video. You can see all of the beautiful color and texture here, and I hope that I've showed you something that you can do, how to use the pan pastels in your art journals. And here are some close-up pictures of all of that color, and these flowers are my absolute favorite part of this entire page. So for more inspiration from the Blitsy creative team, be sure to follow us on Facebook, follow our blog at blitsy.com, as well as on Instagram. And again, thanks so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed this video showing you how to use pan pastels in your art journal. Here's one last look, and I will see you next time.